Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The Halo World Championship begins next month, and OpTic will be looking to go back-to-back after their victory there last season. It's been looking a little bit shaky lately, but yesterday at the Fort Worth event, OpTic and FormaL especially took a big step towards getting back to form with a dominant performance in many of their series, and loads of reaction from Scump, Shotzzy and others to FormaL especially. He's pretty much dominant individual performance. Very much on Twitter, your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Firstly, a big update actually coming out of Marky B. So we know, well, we think we know what might be going on with Los Angeles Guerrillas right now, but it's definitely a bit of a sketchy situation here in the CDL, with some rumours emerging that if not this season, then certainly next season, if the CDL still exists next season, there is possibly unlikely to be 12 teams in the league. This year, we think there probably still will be 12, but we know that certainly both Guerrillas and London are going through some financial issues, as to be fair, I mean, the other organisations in the CDL, but at least they're still going for now, maybe on minimum salaries or whatever. But Guerrillas will certainly be in that position, and they are terminating their contract, really. So Marky B, after a couple of years of doing a great job over at the Toronto Ultra side, he went to the Los Angeles Guerrillas situation, and it's tough really, because I'm sure that part of the reason why HCS joined Guerrillas last year when he had the options was because they were given the money, right? Like, LA Guerrillas at the time were paying the bag, and like, I don't know what Marky B was on or anything, but I imagine that he was relatively well financially compensated, at least at the time. Now, as it's worked out for both of those respective individuals, not particularly well. So Marky B is looking for new options. Now, I don't know whether, because, I mean, Guerrillas, if they're still going to be around, they will need a coach, or they at least need somebody, because you know how it works nowadays. You've got your 4 starting players, you've got to pay them the minimums, but you also need a substitute that you've got to pay the minimum. So if you're really a poverty org, then you just get your coach to be the sub as well. So, you know, you do need 5 people on your team in some respects, and therefore this is why Marky B potentially could find himself in that boat again. He could go back there maybe, but he's going to look for other and hopefully better opportunities. But this is the thing, it's difficult for guys in Mark's position, or really any coach or analyst, that teams aren't particularly keen to fund a staff of like 4 to 5 coaches and analysts. I mean, the last few years we've seen FaZe, we've seen Toronto, for example, and they still do have big staff behind their teams, and it's worked out. And even New York Subliners, for example, and pretty much the only team of that theoretical top 4 that doesn't has kind of been OpTic, but now they've got Karma, they've got JP, so you know, there's a little bit more going on there. But still, those top organizations have invested heavily in the behind the team staff, as it were, and have reaped the rewards as a consequence, I think, in general. But you know, it isn't necessarily cheap. So Marky B is going to look for opportunities. Hopefully it works out for him. I do wonder, as I say, whether they're just deciding to cut all salaries. Basically what these teams do is just, as soon as the season's over, fire all of their staff, and then when the season begins again, pick them up, so they have to pay less money, basically. So even this was a rumour in early July or middle of July that HCS, his contract with LA Guerrillas, had been effectively terminated, and we now know this is pretty much the case, because we think he's going over to the Seattle Surge. But that then raises the question, what's going on with the rest of LAG? So yeah, wishing the best for Marky B, of course, and all the others finding themselves in a similarly difficult position at the moment. Also, just wanted to mention here from Clay, because yesterday he was at the well, the world's greatest gamer tournament or whatever's going on. I'm pretty sure he has made it successfully here to day 2. I think he had a bit of a hard time with the Fall Guys round. I saw Zekken also was playing something in the like Minecraft or something. But actually today is going to be XDefiant they're playing, which is pretty interesting stuff. So I guess they're knocking out players as the tournament progresses. I'll try and tune in today so I can see what's actually going on here in more detail. But so he's got a God Squad apparently for the XDefiant round. So pretty cool stuff they're playing XDefiant. I don't know if they're playing the same builds that was in the beta, for example, because I know there's been some talk that that game has now been approved. But you know, XDefiant really needs to drop like right now, you know what I mean? Because if it did, a lot of the CDL pros would play it, because they've kind of run out of things to play. A lot of them are going to Apex and other things like this at this point, because some of the throwback chals eventually die off relatively quickly after the off-season begins. XDefiant would be well timed at the moment, especially if they actually want to try and make that a viable esport. But I know there's been some talk over there with Ubisoft and the way that like Rainbow Six has apparently not gone particularly well over the last couple of years. So there's some questions about that. But still, so Clay's doing some XDefiant, then some CS 1v1s. Clay plays a fair bit of CS HCS, I think. So he should be good at that. And yeah, he wants to make it to the SF6 portion. I saw some comments yesterday as well saying that I was disrespecting Clay by saying that out of literally every single player that's ever played Call of Duty on this type of level, that he, you know, might not be necessarily my #1 choice if I had to send a representative. If there's one thing I'm for sure not against Clayster, it's disrespectful. I have the utmost respect for Clayster and his crew and his accomplishments. And to be honest, I think that in general, I rate Clayster significantly higher than many people do in the scene, especially in terms of like all-time accomplishments and championships. So I don't really know where that came from, to be honest. I was just suggesting that there would be other candidates from the COD scene that would also be good at very different games, but you know, Clay definitely falls himself firmly into that category as well. So Godspeed Clay for the rest of the tournament. Now let's talk about the OpTic Halo team and how they've been going really on. Mainly I just follow this scene because of FormaL, really. I just want to see how FormaL's getting on because FormaL had such a crazy career in COD. And look, as I've said before, I think Clay clears FormaL all-time in terms of all-time COD player list. Now, in terms of all-time esports player list, FormaL is so clear. Like, pretty much everybody ever, at least from like a controller esport perspective, FormaL's clearly the greatest ever controller esport player, won the World Championship in COD with a pretty much the best ever individual tournament performance. People still consider that to be back in Infinite Warfare World Championships, and then won the OpTic Halo event last year, and even before he came to COD, was winning in Halo, and then immediately won as soon as he came to COD as well. So no one touches FormaL in terms of like all-time esports players as far as I'm concerned. And you know, despite the fact that he kind of fell off a little bit, especially in Modern Warfare, Cold War, when he was lacking motivation, he was right back on form once he found a game that he actually enjoyed again on the Halo side. So the tournament right now is going on in Fort Worth in Dallas, I'm pretty sure, and the World Championship I think is going on next month. So it's kind of rounding down the season at this point. The pools were pretty interesting actually. OpTic got smoked by Quadrant, which is you know, I think a French team. But all I really know about these teams is that, well, the Quadrant's owned by Lando Norris, is what I know about that. But the favourites right now, FaZe, Sentinels, Space Station as well, also lost in groups, but they've been the key teams that have been, like, ridiculously good as of late. And FaZe especially, since forming that team with, you know, with Frosty and Snakebite and those guys, and obviously Renegade coming in as well, like, they've just been pretty much insanely good. But Space Station as well have been really competitive also, so we'll talk about that in a second. But an OpTic, like, lately, with FormaL in these guys, they looked a bit shaky. I think in the last couple of tourneys, they haven't really won much in some time. There was a time where they were just dominating everything online and LAN, and then as it happens, all the other teams are like, all right, let's make changes to try and beat OpTic. And those teams made changes, and pretty much, yes, they did get on top, and OpTic were looking a little bit suspect lately. But, you know, that is apparently turning around at the moment, because FormaL had a ridiculous individual day yesterday, and I just wanted to share some clips here, because they played FaZe in this massive series up in the winners bracket, and FaZe, like, you know, they're one of the best teams in the world, hands down, and they got absolutely bodied game one. I mean, I know that Zoo was talking about, oh, maybe the lights were on too much, or, you know, the lights were shining down from above, as happened back in his day, but you don't see this very often at all. A dominant game of Stronghold to this effect. It was quickly a 2-0 victory after Slayer, and then it went to a King of the Hill game, which is, you know, kind of Hardpoint, but a little bit different, and, you know, there was a particular moment in this where FormaL was just going off, and Scump was getting really hyped. So I'll share a few of the clips for you guys now.
Man, you are the weirdest guy I know.
Oh man.
It's trappy
And you sit,
don't love it.
and you sit on stream and try to play like it's the other way around. Do you hear this guy?
It is. It really is. If you ask anybody around us who loves his horse, he loves his horse.
like that.
Dude, what?
What? Trade damage
Just
all
like-
day long and say, guess what? We're gonna have multiple angles on the tunnel. I'm gonna
Just
help
it.
fast.
Ooh.
And that's a sort of
Damn.
that these players are always assessing, especially the top players are saying. Who's gonna get help first?
Oh,
if
bye.
I'm gonna get help first,
Peace.
I'm gonna challenge
Bye-bye.
this, I'm gonna buy some more time. And Trippy just
Wait, yo, that sounded like...
See ya!
Oh,
my god, oh my god,
my
oh my
goodness.
god, oh my god.
GG, 3-0.
Alright.
Damn, he's already off the stage, dude.
Inner scope.
GG. We'll be seeing FaZe.
And this game has gotten away from FaZe Clan. OpTic are still dominating. OpTic are ticking up, and it's going to be 250 on the board. What a game one from the green wall. I think that sets us up and tees us off perfectly for this series. It's stepping back in. It's one last hurrah here for FaZe. Otherwise, they'll be going down to the elimination bracket.
Royal 2 waits on big door. Big grenades back up down. Snakebite recognizes the situation, has to get in, has to delay. He can't do so. FormaL's got two. FormaL's cooking. And Renegade holds the hill. It's all on him. Frosty slides in as well. Melee down. He's looking to brawl. He's using mixed martial arts anyway to secure this hill.
This is so close though. FormaL just trying to hold this one. Hold this one for OpTic Gaming. Let the remaining teammates spawn. And now the grenades come. Here comes the OpTic push.
Here comes the boom. Do they have what it takes to hold? Frosty slides out. He's down to no shields. He will go down. 3 dead here. OpTic Gaming have the hill, but they need to clear out Royal 2. They've done so successfully. And OpTic Gaming secure the clean sweep against FaZe Clan.
Oh my god, 30 seconds.
Wait, no, wait, I like what they're doing here.
Nice!
Nice! Available, but FormaL gets one.
Nice!
Oh my god.
Nice!
OpTic
Holy
Gaming.
Holy shit!
They're going to win it.
So some seriously sick plays there from FormaL, like staying alive the way he did towards the end of that, and yeah, just some good moments really. But it wasn't just beating FaZe, they then went on to play SSG, and SSG were the team. I remember there was some tweet that FormaL did a while ago where FormaL was kind of like mocking them on social media, and ever since that point, SSG just had OpTic's number, right? They'd always beat them. There was the recent actual tournament that was held by SSG, wasn't it? And they won their home tournament in that sense, and yeah, OpTic couldn't quite get close to these guys lately because it's part of like the former Cloud9 team really, with Eco and Penguin and these guys that were over there before, but you know, that Shotzzy used to play with, I think, back in the Splice days as well. But yeah, this time all the way to a game 5, close for Slayer, but yeah, OpTic just about get over the line. And obviously FormaL saying, you know, cool, calm, collected, but it's interesting to see these guys get back to form in some sense. Now they haven't won the tournament yet, they're top 3, but I mean, as I say, OpTic were winning everything last season, and FormaL especially was looking just ridiculously good. For the last couple of months, I don't think that's truly been the case. But yeah, maybe FormaL back to form right at the crucial moment when it matters the most. So this is the bracket if you guys are interested to keep up with the tournament as it concludes today at HCS Fort Worth. So OpTic took down Space Station 3-2 after beating Col and then FaZe 3-0 respectively. Native Red, the other team that's making a good run, but you know, their run was arguably slightly less impressive. I mean, okay, they took down Native White, Na'Vi, and then Shopify Rebellion to match up with OpTic, but that's still a very good team. So we'll see how it goes today. But OpTic, I guess, going now as the favourites to the championship Sunday, with Sentinels already eliminated. But FaZe are still ridiculously good, so I'd still expect them to make a run, and Space Station as well. But Quadrant are also very good as well. So there's a lot of good teams right now in Halo that have been formed over recent months to try and take down OpTic, but yeah, maybe FormaL is back on form at a rather important moment. So very much enjoyed to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.